Good evening, chat. Hello. It is, hold on, what night is tonight? It is Wednesday night. So I thought for a second, but I was like, is it Tuesday? And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm living in hell if it's only Tuesday. But yes. Would the toaster not work fast enough? No, guys, no. I was having to get things cleaned up and moved around. This time it was just me not being on time. So, 2.0 is not here to sweep for me tonight. So that way, it's not a legitimate excuse. That's how you know. That's how you know. So, anyways, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Tonight, it's a interesting one because we kind of went over a lawsuit similar to this. Glock is being sued by another major city. And once again, another major city run by the Democrats. And this time, it's the city of Seattle. And we're going to go through why they're upset. And basically, because Glocks are awesome. That's why. Nika says, holy shit, live on Kick? Yeah. 100%. 100%. Kill Billy is saying, seems like it's time, Sean. I mean, I think it's funny when the avowed Marxist goes out to kill the evil ICE people, and all he does is mows down a couple of fucking Mexicans. It's like, he permanently deported more people than ICE has right now. I mean, he permanently deported a couple of poor Mexicans. Like, think about how sad that is. Think about how sad that is there. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. If you guys aren't aware, some entrepreneurial communist guy went to the ICE facility in Dallas, got there with the Mosin Nagant, which, keeping with the Marxism theme is beautiful, and started shooting into the sally port of an ICE facility. And he didn't kill anybody except the Lehecan immigrants. Lehecan immigrino boys. So, yeah, very, very interesting. It's very interesting. It's like, and he ended up he took himself out, which is sad. Was it a Mosin? I heard it was a Mosin. And I've seen a picture of some ammo on a stripper clip, and I'm like, yeah, it looks like, doesn't necessarily look like, oh, was it a Mosin? It was a Mauser? Okay. That's what I thought, because the picture showed like Mauser stripper clips and Mosin stripper clips are vastly different in size. Tim Pool Beanie Civil Warlord says, let's go. Yes. Kia Patrick says, I imagine K is nuts because that Mosin is never going to be seen again. Yeah, was it a Mosin or was it a Mauser? It sounds like, because the picture I saw of the ammo laying on the ground, it's a Mauser stripper clip, because Mosin stripper clips are a little different in size. So, I can't help notice you weren't raptured. Well, see, the thing is, when it comes to the rapture, if you really believe in it, the time is, you will not know the time. It will come like a thief in the night. So it's not for you to know the time. So anybody who tells you they know the time is a false prophet. It'll come like a thief in the night. When God does his thing, you'll know he does his thing. So, this is the first time when left and media say clip, they're right. Yes. Yes, and Gavin Newsom did say it was okay on Jimmy Kimmel last night. Basically, he did, and you're like, how does that work? How's that work? So, I'm too fat to ascend to heaven. Well, yeah, I'm sure God's like, bruh, I'll wait for later. So, all right, guys, it is time to we a couple minutes burned here, but it's time to get started. We are live tonight on Kick. We're live tonight on Rumble. Kick, Twitter, and YouTube. So let me know. Was it Colbert, not Kimmel? Does it really fucking matter? They both suck. Like, are we really going to act like there's a difference between the two of them? They both have garbage fucking ratings. So it does. Is that really like you're arguing, anarcho-communist versus an anarcho-syndicalist? They both go out the helicopter. So one has glasses. Kimmel's coming back. No, Kimmel's still done Jimmy Kimmel's still done next year. Just like Stephen Colbert, they're both done within, actually about 9 months. They're both done. So it doesn't matter. So, Fair Frozen says, I'm not going to lie. I will be upset if I get raptured before I get my Garand. Well, where did I put? Oh, you mean the thing that makes this noise? This noise? That noise? Oh. I will mistake Fuentes for Mersh. Well, I mean, after a while, I mean, there's a difference, you know. Which one of them let Destiny put their dick in Destiny's mouth? I don't think Mersh would do that. I'm not face blind. It's just they all look the same. Yeah, they do. They all look the same pretty much. Is that my 1941 toaster? No, it's one of these things. If you know, you know. There you go. I miss Day Defeat. Yes, I do too. And also, Fair Frozen, thank you for the $5. Oh, where are you getting your grand? Oh, you're getting your grand too. Okay, well, good luck. It'll get to you. It's definitely worth the wait. And the Chugi show's been a number for 9 months. It's 8/16, and there's still no stream. Yes, and Fat Man ain't streaming tonight. Burn down, burn down, burn, burn, burn down, burn. Can you sue Seattle for being sucky? No. I just casually have an M1 grand clip chilling on my desk. Well, yeah, because I have a grand. Duh. I mean, if I got a grand, why not have grand clips? Like, you have to. You have to. No tism wasted on thumbnails means I saved tism for a model stream. No, it's Wednesday. We're going to do members only. Members only after this, so. What's the kick channel name? Potentially criminal. Potentially criminal. So. But would Mersh do blow off Destiny's dick? Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't know that one. Maybe not. So, how are the Glock lawsuits not just against the PLCAA? Well, remember, there are limits to what the we're going to get into what this is, and I'm sure Glock is going to get this removed. But we're going to start, and we'll get into see what's going on here. Now, if you guys remember, Seattle is the biggest city in the state of Washington. It's full of communists. They have a statue to Lenin. And they have gone ahead to sue Glock. Yes, world-renowned pistol and horse cum manufacturers. So they've sued at the state court level. Because if they went federal, immediately PLCAA would be invoked and that'd be done. But they're suing in state court. So the Superior Court of Washington, I mean, this is the normal trial court in King County, where Seattle is. City of Seattle versus Glock. And then Bullseye Indoor Range, and we'll see why they factor into this. Pantel Tactical and Rainier Arms. Yes, guys, Rainier Arms. These three play a role, and we'll see. Just kind of like the one in Chicago. These gun stores play a role, and these manufacturers play a role. So what do they do here? Well, they start off with such a cringe fucking argument here. But it says, nearly after a century after a federal crackdown on machine guns largely ended the use of automatic weapons by criminals. That's incorrect. Most criminals did not use automatic weapons. Automatic weapons were costly. Automatic weapons were not concealable. The most criminals use semi-automatic weapons. Handguns, revolvers, Remington 1907s. Shotguns, lever action guns. The average criminal did not use automatic weapons. The biggest buyers of automatic weapons at the time of the National Firearms Act were companies who were buying them for defense against labor insurrection. Private corporations were the biggest purchasers of automatic weapons and weaponry online. Is it Isk like Eve? No, from Iceland. So, and they are brought back, they are back on the rise thanks to Glock switches. An illegal modification lets Glock brand pistols fire continuously with one trigger pull. And chat, they're talking about the switches. You gotta, when they're right, they're right. Yes, it all comes down to the switchies. And the switchies, just,
switchy. No talk. No cap. No talk.
No cap indeed. No cap indeed. So the city of Seattle is bringing this against a couple different companies. So Glock Incorporated and Glock from, and this is Glock's Austrian arm, the actual parent company. And this is the Glock subsidiary in America. And 3 authorized Glock dealers in the Seattle area, Bullseye, Pantel, and Rainier Arms, for flooding the Seattle market with pistols that can be easily converted into machine guns. They say Glock pistols are uniquely susceptible using cheap, widely available devices known as switches, also known as switchies. And these are known as machine gun conversion devices or auto-sears. That is correct. And guys, that's what one of those looks like on the back of it. You can 3D print one of those too, just saying. Before a conversion, a Glock fires 1 bullet for each trigger pull. In contrast, a converted weapon fires at rates of up to 1,200 rounds per minute. Yes, Glocks have an insane cyclic rate when they go full auto. Turning ordinary pistols into battlefield weapons, well, the ordinary pistols are battlefield weapons already. Used in drive-by shootings, ambushes, and mass shootings. Which mass shooting? Which mass shooting? Remember, see how they do this. It's like what they do in mass shootings. What do? They rank mass shootings into gang attacks and gang violence. Notice what they're doing there. Notice how they're manipulating the words. Brimstone says, yes, I will cover that in Illinois thing. I wanted to see make sure it was closed captioned up and everything. But yes, we will do that coming up. I didn't have enough time tonight. But yes, we will. And if you happen to find it where it's all squared away, let me know and I'll use the link there. So there's no sub option here yet. I'm not part of the Kick program yet, so you can't throw your pennies at me. But yes, guys, like the mass shootings, you mean gang violence. Ambushes between gang members. Drive-by shootings between gang members. So a Glock could eliminate an entire school in a minute. The idea is, Bob, the rate of fire, 1,200 rounds a minute, it's the rate of fire. A Glock obviously doesn't have a 1,200 round magazine, but if you theoretically could give it 1,200 rounds, it would be able to fire it. So, yes, the mass shooting is 4 or more injured, and it doesn't even need to be because of the gun. I understand, yeah. People getting injured in a stampede or whatever, yeah. So, and it says Glock knows his pistols are being exploited this way. In March or April of 2025, it updated its website to include an FAQ acknowledging and giving hollow lip service, discouraging the modification of Glock semi-automatic pistols with machine gun devices. Yet Glock continues to manufacture, distribute, and profit firearms that are easily modified. Yeah, whatever. And despite rising violence and growing alarm, oh no, Glock's made no meaningful effort to change its weapons. Instead, the marketability is intended to increase the allure, desirability, and glorification of fully automatic weapons. Yes! That's right, chat. Automatic weapons are dope as fuck. You gotta love them, chat. Automatic weapons are the best. I mean, really, they are. Automatic weapons are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anybody who tells you wrong is a communist and a liar. Automatic weapons are cool. They're so cool. So, yes, more DACA is always better. More DACA is 100% better. Yes. But you guys are bringing questions, so hold on. So, from here, though, they keep on going. The intentional choice is to profit. To both profit and no, they don't mention the horse come here. I'm very disappointed. Vosh lives up in Washington, I think. So, they're going to leave his joy alone. And to refuse to sell safer weapons, how would they make them safer? Have fueled an epidemic. The Seattle Police Department reports increased crimes involving converted Glocks. Yeah, okay, hold on here. Seattle Police issued firearm. What does the Seattle Police issue for firearms? Let's see here. Oh, the use of force weapons. Oh, okay. So what do they have? I think this has got it. But there's a very good likelihood they use Glocks. They use a Glockenspiel. Let's see here. Is it? I don't know if it has a list of accepted firearms, but pretty much every police department in America allows you to use Glocks. Yes, they might. In Seattle, they issue Tokarevs. Yes. Yes. Yes, but there's a big emphasis here on the converted Glocks. Okay, well, they're converted. These converted pistols are increasingly common feature of urban gun violence. Well, that sounds like, what do you mean? I thought we were talking about mass shootings. We're talking about mass shootings, and now we're talking about urban style individuals engaging in robust urban gun culture. Used by teens as young as 13. Well, you can't get any younger than 13 if you're a teen. Gangs and traffickers, precisely their appealing image, lethality, concealability, and easy modification. They're not really any more lethal than a regular, unmodified handgun. An easy modification, sure, but the concealability doesn't change. The Glock is still concealable. Now, this is how they're getting around the PLCAA. Glock has created and sustained a public nuisance. That's not covered under the PLCAA. They say, as a manufacturer of these pistols, Glock should bear responsibility for its decision to continue profiting from machine guns. The city and the consequences to the city of Seattle. And the authorized dealers located outside the city contribute to the nuisance by placing additional Glocks in a local gun trade. And here's the thing. All the gun stores are outside the city of Seattle. Is this their argument saying they shouldn't sell to black folk? Is that what you want Rainier Arms to do going forward? Have them go, fine, we won't sell to black people. We won't sell to minorities. If they're brown, we're not going to sell to them. Is that what they want? Is that really what they want? I mean, it sounds like it. Like if I'm running the store, it's like, fine, do you want us to not sell to minorities? If we see an urban style individual come in, can we say no? Yes, High Point love this. Yeah, notice they're not going after High Point, and I bet there's a shitload of fucking High Points the cops catch. Or, I'm sure they catch a lot of freaking Jimenez and Bricos and Jennings, so just saying, chat, just saying. So it says the party, City of Seattle's a municipal corporation with only 760,000 residents. I thought Seattle was bigger than that. Its offices are located at 4th Avenue in Seattle, Washington. Okay. Well, and actually, how big is King County? King County, Washington. Let's see here. How big is King County? King County is just under 2.3 million people. Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Oh, and it's just outside of JBLM. Okay. JBLM's just outside. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that about that. That's cool. That is cool. So, Huh. Wow. Wow. Let's see here. All right. So we're going to move on from there. They say the city has specifically enumerated powers, and this is where they're stating we have the authority and standing to do this on behalf of the people. Okay, and they say the city's police department is the largest law enforcement agency in Washington State. Wouldn't surprise me at all. They say Glock is a firearm importer and manufacturer located in Smyrna, Georgia. That is correct. If you guys live in Georgia, you can go find Glock. They say it's incorporated under laws of Georgia. Yep. Glock earns hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue from its handgun sales. Well, that's all it sells. I mean, are they really going to argue that there's Are they really going to argue that they... Yes, the fat man lives in Renton. I understand. Yes. Yes, we can see Phil's house from here, Chad, if you want. If you guys don't understand the size of the area they're talking about, King County is really fucking huge. This is the entire county right here. This right here. This is the entire county. Like, look how huge that is. Also, look, New Claw. That's where Mr. Hands is from. But yeah, this is all King County. So think about it. That's like 2.3 million people living there. And then also, how do you spell that name? Puyallup? I don't know, something Indian. Anyway, that is there. And also, I just got a message. Nope, don't care. And then from let me see here. Then from here, you can go to the beautiful city of Renton, Virginia, or Renton, Washington. And Phil lives somewhere like up here. Darkside Phil lives like in this area. The Snort Fort, Snort Korea is up here. So let's get back to the lawsuit. But yes, Glock revives its handgun sales. That's all it sells. I mean, their horse cum trading is not really where they make their money. Glock Incorporated is directly and materially involved in the assembly, design, marketing, and advertising of handguns, including those in Washington, in the state of Washington. I don't know how you pronounce that, but Glock Limited is an Austrian limited liability company with its principal place of business in Deutsch, Wagram, Austria. Lostrich. If you are Lotrich, if you are French, and the Österreich, if you are German. I don't understand why they're called the Österreich if they're south. They're, isn't Ost east? It's weird. It's weird, Germans. Anyways, Glock Limited and Incorporated Holdings, GmbH, that's the limited liability things. An Austrian hump is jointly owned Glock Incorporated. They say Glock Limited designs, manufactures, blah, 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 blah. They say Glock Limited is the center for the company's multifaceted operations. Okay. Glock Limited and its founder, Gaston Glock. No one makes guns like Gaston. Enhances gang violence like Gaston. They created Glock to sell the products in the U.S. And for the time of the creation of Glock Incorporated, which if you guys are not aware, Glocks have been around since the mid 80s and even earlier. Glocks were being imported into America, and they took off from there. It's the most ubiquitous handgun probably in civilian possession right now. So they say up until his death until 2023, Saint Gaston made control. He frequently traveled around the United States from a home in Georgia to market Glock handguns and sell horse cum. Yes, he married a woman who likes horses, so they started breeding horses. And they sell horse cum, too. They have a horse breeding program. And then Glock controls the activities of Glock, so it can do all this. They said for many years, Glock Limited manufactured all handguns that were sold in the United States. Then Glock began to do it using component parts supplied by Glock Limited from Austria. However, as of 2021, Glock Limited still manufactured the majority of Glock handguns in Austria. They control the design standards and, used in the assembly facilities in America. They're showing how these companies are so interlinked. You see a turtle on a fence post. Interlinked. Interlinked. One of the early models was passed down to me from my grandfather. Yeah, I've seen their Gen 1 Glocks. They're really cool. And it's really cool how they were marketed back in the day. Yep, the first gen Glock 17, the original. That's why it's called the Glock 17. It holds 17 rounds. So they say Glock and are referred to as Glock. Yeah, nobody cares. Okay, blah, blah, blah. There's Glock. So now I talk about Glock identified these dealers for the Washington public on its website. So if you go to distributors and places to sell through Glock, that's why they pick these. Bullseye Indoor Range is one of them. They operate a gun range and offer a variety of Glock pistols for sale to the public. The website identifies them as an authorized dealer and one of the most trusted indoor shooting ranges near you. Pretty cool. Pantel Tactical. It's a sole proprietorship license to do business and headquartered in Renton, Washington. Oh no, chat Phil! They sell guns in North Korea. That's dangerous to us. That is so dangerous that they sell guns in North Korea. Clyde, come here. Clyde, what's wrong, Bubba? Clyde is like scared right now. Come here, buddy. Come on. Come here. Hey. Hey. Huh. He's fucking wigged out. Something's wrong. He won't come to me, so. But yes, we'll find Phil there. He'll be teaching you how to, all of his fighting games. He'll be teaching us how to fight. Now it's an authorized dealer and a so-called blue label dealer, which Glock has a blue label program where you can get discounts for Glock pistols eligible to military and law enforcement members. And I'm not going to lie, depending on the place, they will forward on and Glock has accepted blue label for prosecutors because they count as law enforcement technically. Just saying. They offer a variety of pistols for sale in the Kang County public. No wonder Phil lives in Renton. He's a Kang, and he lives in Kang County. I know you probably have already made that distinction on the farms, but it's still. Rainier Arms, very based, is an authorized dealer. Rainier Arms, they have a great website, by the way, chat, rainierarms.com. Check them out. They sell all kinds of good shit. Every once in a while, they have baller AR-15 mag sales. Especially like P-Mags or Lancers. So they are in Auburn, Washington. I don't know where that is. Rainier offers offers a variety of Glock pistols for sale to the Kang County public, and they are the authorized dealers. And they say the court has subject matter jurisdiction over the causes of action which arise under Washington law. Yeah, well, yes, because it's in King County. So there's personal jurisdiction because these guys, they reside here. They avail themselves to the protection of the laws. They do business here. That totally makes sense. The court has jurisdiction over Glock because they purposely avail themselves of the Washington market through their distribution and marketing practices. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work. They contract with national and regional distributors. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything here. Their business model anticipates the presence of firearms in Washington's retail market. Yeah, but there's a lot of Washington that's not Seattle or King County. They say Glock has also cultivated and maintained brand presence, and they have, through its advertising and promotional activities. They advertise widely across digital platforms and firearms publications with national reach, including those that target civilian gun buyers in Washington. And they say that, the strategic engagement in the marketplace goes beyond mere foreseeability. It's a clear intent to benefit and serve consumers. And it says Glock Incorporated holds an FFL. They have to have one, too, as a manufacturer to manufacture and sell firearms, but Glock does not sell directly to consumers. That's correct. Buyers just make the purchase through Glock's authorized dealers. Yes, Glock sells to distributors, and those distributors give to dealers. And they conduct background checks, and they go from there. And they say Glock maintains a network of authorized dealers across the U.S., including several dozen in Washington State. Pretty much every goddamn gun store sells Glocks. I mean, that's the thing here. Auburn is in the valley east of Federal Way, is north of Puyallup. I forgot to ask. Chet, did you say how you spell this name of the town? You guys didn't get to me. Yeah, Denton, Washington. Thank you, Johan. The Dent Citadel, yes. Renton is nice, but I guess. Puyallup. 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 Okay. Puyallup. 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 M just says polyp. Okay. I appreciate you guys doing that and help me there. So they participate in programs such as the Glock Stocking Dealer Program, which are designed to ensure the availability and promotion of Glocks within the state. The Stocking Dealer Program offers dealers benefits like exclusive pricing on pistols, armor, training, discounts on parts and apparel, materials, and inclusion in Glock's marketing efforts, including the dealer locator. Yep. You engage with them. This is actually a pretty good program. I know a couple of FFLs that have used it before. Especially the armor's courses, and that just means you could take it apart all the way down. But if you've ever built one from the ground up, you've done an armor's course yourself. And they have training events known as Glock Days in Western Washington, where people can speak with a Glock representative and access exclusive deals. And they say in Western Washington, several dozen dealers are part of the Authorized network, including dealers in the cities of Auburn, Bellevue, Covington, Everett, Lake Tapps, Linwood, Renton, Snohomish, Snohomish. It's gay! I don't know, maybe. Snohomish, Tacoma, and Woodinville. Woodinville, that just seems weird. That sounds like something Phil would live. Glock also sells pistols indirectly to consumers through its via Buy Now link. The Buy Now link does it to a third party of dealers that require pistols to be picked up at a brick and mortar location, such as authorized dealers like Bullseye, Piantel, and Rainier Arms. Snohomish. This sounds like a Glock advertisement rather than a lawsuit. Oh, I agree. This sounds very, very good. Like, you're like, I've already got one. You know, like, how many more do you want me to buy? But no, this is very much also kind of like coming into the arguments that were made at the Supreme Court against Smith & Wesson and Glock by Mexico. We're kind of getting there. So they not only sell Glock pistols, but there's purposeful availment of Washington market. The city's claims arise out of activities in Washington. And they say exercising jurisdiction over Glock is reasonable and comports with due process. Glock is a sophisticated corporation that regularly conducts business nationwide and cannot claim unfair supplies when called to answer for harm caused by its products. The city has a manifest interest in protecting its residents from the efforts of easily converted weapons, and Glock should be required to defend its conduct in the jurisdiction where the harm has taken root. Now, they point out the personal jurisdiction of the gun stores. They're headquartered in Washington and do business here, which includes the distribution of easily converted Glock weapons in Greater Seattle. And it says Bullseye serves consumers in the Seattle area who purchase firearms, either directly at the storefront in Tacoma or via Glock's website. Piantel does it through the storefront in Renton, or Rainier does it through its storefront in Auburn. Okay, we need to figure out where these cities are. Okay, so we know where Denton is. We know where Phil lives. Phil lives somewhere out here in North Korea. And where is... We know that. Now we got to find Auburn. Well, Tacoma... Is Tacoma in... Well, Tacoma's not in fucking King County. That's kind of shitty. But I also know it's all called SeaTac. It's basically one big area. And that's because they have SeaTac Airport, Seattle, Tacoma. But Auburn is Federal Way. That is a weird name for a town. Federal Way. Why do you do that out there? And then Auburn, Washington. Okay. And then there's there's that town, Puyallup. Okay. Also, though, where is Piantel Tactical? Let's see if we... Hold on here. Piantel Tactical. I mean, wait. That is kind of close to... Isn't that kind of close to where... Oh, no. Phil lives on the other side of town. Phil lives up there. Thank God. I don't want him near guns. He probably hurt himself. But there we go. Piantel. I thought it said Patel Tactical at first, and it's like, SAR! Like, this looks like a nice little cute gun store. Like, this is based. I like this already. I like these guys. I already like these dudes. Pretty based. They're next to a martial arts store and a Filipino restaurant. I could dig that. And then what do they have down here? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the church. But okay. I mean, you know, you got to like hole-in-the-wall gun stores. You have to. It's kind of a rule. So let's keep going here. So find your dealers. Notice, yes, a a pawn shop, Freedom Arms. Notice they're not being sued. Capital Loans, another pawn shop. Outdoor Emporium, not a pawn shop. I like how they're now just doxing fucking private. These guys are just like kitchen table FFLs probably. And they're just fucking doxing these people on that. That's so gay from them. They say when buying a firearm, purchaser are instructed to select an FFL dealer. And they say at least 8 dealers within the city limits are listed as shipping locations. And they say 3 individuals who are listed individually. That is just so bad. So where hold on here. What is Let me see here. Yes, Phil keeps an axe or a hatchet next to his front door, which by the time you get to the front door, the bad guy's probably already inside. So keeping the hatchet by the front door is going to get you attacked. So, Shelly saying, I raised my kids at Federal Way. It's all gangs now. Oh, okay. Erica says, he used to live off near Federal Way in Seattle. Yes, and Jefferson Post says, a switchy lets you pew all up in this place. I got you on that one. Oh. Federal Way is just a long highway. Oh, wow. So, the Burnell Enterprises is the sandwich shop on Google Maps. I know that. That blind guy says, yes, all this stuff about the contacts, yes, it's all international shoe nonsense. Yes. Remember, you're doing state law, so international shoe would apply to an extent. But yes, all the things about how you would bring people in. But you don't need the long arm statute here because it's clear that minimal contacts have been established because there's no question about it. But international shoe is more about the long arm statute and how that would apply in establishing those contacts. They have a lot of contacts here, so bringing them to court is not impossible. Let me see here. What was the other thing I was trying to see somebody put down? Okay. So you find your dealer, and it says factual allegations. Glock pistols are popular guns for civilians. Yes. Law enforcement, yes, and criminals alike. True. They're the most popular handguns in the world. Yes. Glock originally sold the semi-automatic handguns for military use. Yes. Gaston Glock initially made cookware and enamelware. And the Austrian army had a handgun competition opening up to replace one of the Steyr pistols, the Steyr GB. And he produced the Glock 17 for the Austrian army. He designed it. Later became the first handgun released commercially in the United States, and it's one of the most popular semi-automatic handguns today. Yes, from the 80s, but yes, this is the Glock 17. It's the big boy. It's the foundation of Glock's handgun business. Yes. Others differ in size, ammunition, or both, but are basically similarly mechanical. Yes. Just merely scaled up or down. Prey Times 12 says, who is DSP? Dark Side Phil. And if you don't know, you're good enough leaving it alone. And they say also includes the Glock 19, a compact frame that shoots 9mm. Yes. Shoots 15 rounds of 9mm. The Glock 45, a standard size frame that shoots 9mm. Yeah, but not exactly. And they say over the years, Glock has issued updated generations of models from the Gen 1 to the Gen 5. The updated features minor changes like the removal of finger grooves, heresy from the grip, and improved ergonomics for left-handed shooters. Yes, very based. I'm glad they did. Yes. In the U.S., Glock dominates both civilian and law enforcement markets, yes. Glocks are disproportionately represented in gun crimes across the country. Their widespread availability, low cost, and ease of concealment have made them a common choice for illegal possession and criminal use. Every handgun is the ease of concealment. That's why handguns are preferred by criminals, because they're all easy to conceal. So the ATF lists Glock as one of its top manufacturers for firearms, traced in connection between 2019 and 2023. The top 3 guns traced by the ATF are all made by Glock, accounting for 74% of traced firearms. Based. Between 2017 and 2021, Glock 9mm pistols One of the most frequently covered crime gun in Washington. I see they are men of high culture in Seattle. Glock manufactured 31% of the 7,300 crime guns recovered in the state during this period. Okay, but that's not in Seattle, so not relevant. The ATF reports the two most frequently covered guns in the city between 17 and 21 were made by Glock. Glock manufactured 40% of the 1,100 crime guns recovered in the city during this period. So on average, they only recovered about 300 guns a year? I think they would cover a lot more than that in a city like Seattle, but okay. So I heard Seattle's a fucking shithole. Yes, high points behind this lawsuit. Yes. They say one concern is the pistols modified with Glock switches. Switchies. And they say these small, often 3D printed or imported parts can, yes, imported through Temu or Wish. Or you could 3D print a auto-sear. It won't last long, but it's like printing out an AR-15 drop-in auto-sear. It won't last long, but it'll work. Can be installed in seconds and have been increasingly covered by police departments, including Seattle. And they say the ease which you could do it makes them especially popular. Glock's failure to correct this vulnerability allows criminals to circumvent federal and state law on fully automatic weapons. And you know what? The moment that happens, they'll move on to Smith & Wesson. People will find a way. They'll move on to Taurus. They'll move on to whoever doesn't make their, like, it's not like that'll fix the problem. People will move on. And they say devices that convert semi-automatic guns are known as machine gun conversion devices or auto-sears. And the Glock switch is a type of auto-sear that converts the Glock into a fully automatic weapon. And the switches are made from metal or plastic and roughly the size of a dime in footprint, but they're obviously a lot more than a dime. But this is a 3D printed Glock switchy. And they say attaching the switch does not require specialized tools. No, but it takes a little bit of work. You can't, like, you have to mess with what's going on in the firing pin channel and like kind of like play with some things because you got to remove the back plate. So how does it work? Well, it's a $50 modification. Who's paying $50 for a switchy? Who's paying $50 for a switchy? So what do you do? Well, so the way a Glock normally works, pulling the trigger pushes the firing pin. Well, it doesn't, like, not like that. What it does, the striker like is allowed to move, and therefore, so they say, and they talk about after recoil. Yes, it's how the firing pin, it trips the trigger bar and it moves back up to the connector and catches everything again. Yes. The sear and the disconnector. The Glock switch blocks all of this. Yes. And the Glock switch trips those things and makes it automatically fire as long as the trigger is pulled. They say once installed, the switch overrides the firearm's internal mechanisms to enable continuous fire of the single pull, converting into a machine gun, which are based. A converted Glock can do 1,200 rounds a minute, which is like an MG42. And they pose a severe threat to public safety and law enforcement. Semi-automatic guns require a separate trigger pull to fire. In contrast, full auto weapons fire successive bullets continuously with a single trigger pull until the trigger is released. Yes. Does that mean they're okay with like semi-auto guns? Nope, they're not. They're not. And they say, well, Washington law prohibits a sale or import of magazines with capacity greater than 10 rounds. Larger magazines can be purchased outside the state and illegally imported to expand the capacity of Glocks to 50 rounds or more. You could do 100 on a Glock. A converted Glock could fire all 50 rounds in less than 5 seconds, even faster than that. That's slow. That is slow. Is there a video of a switchy being fired? Yes, but YouTube will kill us if we do it. So no, we can't show it. If you Google Glock switch, it's just brrr. Or go on Twitter. I mean, you could find it. Brrr, brrr. You know, that's how this goes. That's how this goes. That's how this goes. Oh. And it's all just horseshit. Well, the rapid fire makes guns harder to aim and control than semi-auto, resulting in more destruction to bystanders and casualties at crime scenes. Okay. Yes, it turns a Glock into a fucking fire hose. Yes. Interesting says a master machinist could roll those out for less than 50 and still be profitable. I can roll them out on a 3D printer and make even more money. And Tim is saying false. A Glock cannot fire 1,200 rounds in 1 minute. It's a cyclic rate of firing 1,200 rounds in a minute. So, Richard Stuplich is saying lawyers are only second to politicians to their excellent knowledge of firearms. Well, these lawyers, yes, but yeah. So Glock semi-automatic handguns allow even a gun novice to convert a semi-automatic pistol into a legal, fully automatic machine gun for a device that could cost less than $50 based. And they say that these are marketed to civilians. A semi-automatic gun fires 1 round per trigger pull, automatically ejects a spent cartridge, and chambers the next round without requiring the shooter to manually cycle the action. In other words, the user pulls the trigger once and the gun fires 1 bullet. The gun uses recoil energy from the round fired to reload itself. Yes, thank you, John Moses Browning, for that idea. Making it ready to fire again with the next trigger pull. Praise be unto Mr. Browning. It was his idea, after all. Now, the same energy can be used to reload, can also be used to fire another bullet. And they say, but semi-automatic weapons have a sear. They all have a sear. It's just how the sear operates. It's a small piece of metal that prevents a gun from firing another bullet. An auto-sear switch overrides the sear, allowing the gun to use energy from 1 round to reload and fire another. And they say Glock pistols make overriding the sear easy. In Glocks, the sear is simple. It's combined in one piece of the trigger bar and accessible. It is relatively large and unprotected. Well, how would they fix that in a Glock? I don't know. This makes it easy to access and manipulate. The only thing that prevents Glocks from becoming fully automatic. That's true for every gun. Every semi-automatic firearm, the sear and disconnector are the only things that keep it from going full auto. So when you hear about people talking about filing down parts, yes, if you filed them down, the gun would never stop and you'd have what's called a runaway. It would run until it exhausts its ammunition supply. But that's how every semi-automatic firearm works. The sear catches, part of the action and stops it. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. Tim says, I'm challenging all these statements to find Glock. Yes. Yes, I know they are, but I'm just saying overall. A 1,200 round Glock drum will weigh 30 pounds. Yes. Oh, I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would. Don't tell them about the high powers and when parts break. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of guns. I've seen a couple of different pistols go runaway once. So, what do they want revolvers now? Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. Chortling SKSs and slam fire. Yes. I've seen one of those before too. That is actually pretty interesting. And says I've found Glocks are quite reliable. Glocks are bomb proof, man. As long as it's a stock Glock model, you can bury it in the ground for years on end, pull it out of the dirt, and it'll still shoot. There's a channel out here. If you go on YouTube and Google it, it's a guy named Adco Steve. Guy I knew when I was in Toledo. He had a Glock 21. He literally just dug a hole, buried it. Like 3 years later, dug it out. One of the springs had rusted away. He replaced it. We brought it to the range, put 500 rounds through it. He then shot the slide with a 22 a couple of times, put another couple hundred rounds through it, threw it out of an airplane at like 1,000 feet with a primed casing in it. Casing didn't fire, pulled it up out of the ground, and shot another couple hundred rounds through it. Glocks are pretty indestructible. Glocks are indestructible. So, just saying, Glocks are the bee's knees. Adam says, link that video. I don't know. Hold on here. Let me see if I can find it. All right, we're going to do a side quest here, chat. Hold on here. Okay. So he did a bunch of things to it, but this is the one part of it that's available, I think. God, it was 16 years ago? Fuck. I'm in this video too. You can find me if you're paying attention. Yeah. All right. Anyways, here we go. AP says AGCO is good people. Yes, AGCO Firearms out in the Toledo, Ohio area is a great place. So, yes. Oops, I meant I bump fired my M1 carbine. Very funny. But anyways, that's part of it. If you guys Google around on his page, guy has all kinds of machine gun shit on there. He's very knowledgeable, very cool guy. 16 years ago, my life is over. Well, it's 16 years ago on YouTube. So, So anyways, we're going to keep going. We'll keep going here. They say the only thing, and that was a carbine group I used to shoot with. We did a lot of like, carbine drills and, run like stages and stuff. It was a lot of fun back in the day. They say similar guns made by other manufacturers block access to the sear and otherwise complicate installation of a machine gun conversion device. Not really. Not really. Notice they're talking about, from the trace. It's like, not really. There are conversion devices for a lot of different guns. It's just this is the easiest one for now. And they say, ironically, Glock markets simplicity as a safety feature. It is. That's why the Glock doesn't discharge. That's why the SIG P320 is dangerous. SIG had to make it extraordinarily complicated compared to a Glock. A Glock is a very simple handgun. It's simple. That is why it's reliable. That's why it's effective. That's why it doesn't break. That's why it can run for fucking 30,000 rounds. So, they're reliable as shit. They are reliable as fuck. And they say further facilitating access to the sear. The slide plate on Glock pistols is very easy to remove. Same thing for an M&P. They require no special training or tools and allow easy access to the gun's internal parts. Every fucking handgun does that. Every fucking handgun. Did I have long hair 16 years ago? No. I had shorter hair 16 years ago. Glock slide plate cover drops right onto your slide with no tools required. True. Yep, the outsized responsibility for the problems generated illustrates how easy it is to modify Glocks. And the majority of weapons converted into legal machine guns that Seattle police have recovered in recent years are converted Glocks. Well, what are the rest of them? Are the rest of them AR-15s that have been converted full auto or Dracos? What are the rest of them? Like how many? But notice we're now talking about in Chicago, handguns have turned high-capacity machine guns for deadly violence. This is very much the same thing. Did I have a beard then? No. No, keep looking. So, yeah, this sounds just like the stuff in Chicago. Online forums among owners and enthusiasts illustrate how easy it is to install a Glock switch. There are multiple online videos that provide step-by-step instructions explaining how easy it is. Glock's not responsible for what people do. That's not a Glock problem. This is other people talking about it. That's not their fault. Richard Super says, I'd like to have a novice do it in court. It's not as simple as they're pretending. Yeah, you have to pull like part of the striker assembly. You have to put some tension on it to pull off the slide plate. And I'm sure that novice would let shit fly everywhere. So, yeah, it's not hard. Yes. The wear on the parts in the slide can be are what cause wear-induced double taps. Yeah. The striker channel and all the stuff in there, the sleeve, and even the striker components. The slide plate is meant to facilitate that. They say that Glock intentionally refuses to make the pistol safer. Glock could make its trigger bar system more difficult to convert Glock semi-automatic handguns into machine guns, but doesn't do so. If Glock were to require specialized tools and training to remove the slide cover, then eventually people would learn that. Or we're able to make the plate unremovable. You couldn't, if you make the plate unremovable, it wouldn't work that way. It wouldn't work that way. No, it wouldn't at all. If you weld, like, think about it. Well, if you were to weld the plate on the back of a Glock, you can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, if you make it difficult, nothing is really difficult nowadays. People, like, the iPhone first came out. People are like, oh shit, how do I take that apart? Now you could take apart an iPhone without hesitation. Yeah, the plates were made to make it serviceable. But even then, if you made it requiring special tools, you know what's going to happen on Alibaba? There'd be fucking tools tomorrow. Like, any of these stuff that comes out, there's tools automatically coming out the next day that allow you to work on stuff. Kia Path says dudes were showing how easy to jack Kias on TikTok. Well, remember, we've covered this. Places have sued Kia for making the cars too easy to steal. So, it does require training and tools. The armor's course and dresses it. There's a special inspection plate. Yeah, but I mean, like, I could sit here and, like, I could put on desk mode and I could show people how to take apart, like, take the slide plate off and put on a switch. It's not hard. Like, we literally could do it here in like a couple minutes. And I'm far from sophisticated. So Glock has told law enforcement officials that its handguns cannot be changed to make attaching Glock switches more difficult. But the past practice show otherwise. In and around 2017, Glock released a 5th generation for its handguns, including the 17 and 19. The Gen 5 handguns, and this is the back plate we're talking about, chat. This is the back plate right here, this thing. That's where the switchy goes. The handguns include a small tab on the rear frame that sticks up to cover the slide plate. This tab was not present on earlier models like the Gen 4. And guess what I could do with this little tab? I can remove it. It's not hard to get rid of. It's really fucking easy. It's really fun. That tab does nothing for the operation of the gun. I can remove it immediately. Glock has not stated publicly that this tab was added in response to concerns about switches. However, the tab makes ticking the switch slightly more challenging and has no other purpose. Yeah. Dremels go zzz. Yep. Take a Dremel. It just, it's plastic. I'm pretty sure it's plastic. You just fucking grind it off. You can heat up a piece and cut it. I despise the stock sight picture on a Glock. I do too, but it is what it is. So, Jack is saying in a few minutes, okay, I'm talking about replacing the striker plate, like the rear plate. Yes, you can take it apart in 30 seconds, reassemble in 30 seconds. Yes, I can do that too. But I'm talking about like actual armor level work where you're taking, you're depressing whatever that lug is out of the striker that catches, getting that depressed, putting tension on it, getting the slide plate off, and then putting a new slide plate on with the switchy. That's a little more than 30 seconds. But yes, basic field stripping. Yeah, basic field strip would be there. So they admit Glock tried to make it hard to convert in their complaint. Yes, but they're admitting that, Glock went to fix the problem, but only after, it's like, but they're saying in 2017, okay, so what do you want them to do? They say, unfortunately, the tab is so easy to remove, it provides no meaningful deterrent. The tab can easily be removed using a metal file without technical knowledge or specialized tools. Well, what do you want them to make it out of? What do you want them to do? Online videos explain how easy it is to remove the tab in only a few minutes. I have a friend. I watched him do it. He got that. He's like, bzz, and I'm like, are you going to put a switchy in it? He's like, nope, I just don't want it there. Glock's Gen 5 handguns were essentially as easy to convert as the previous models. In fact, since Glock introduced the Gen 5, Glock switches have exploded in popularity despite the tab's addition. And it says since 2023, the Seattle Police Department has recovered nearly a dozen. Oh my God, nearly 24. Oh no. 24 Gen 5s. Although the tab continues to be an ineffective solution, its introduction shows the Glock's been aware of the problem and could have made additional, more effective changes. Like what? What's your engineering firm going to do? At the same time, Glock continues to market and sell its earlier models, such as Gen 3 pistols, without the tab. Yes, the Gen 3 Glock 19 and Glock 17 are the ubiquitous handguns. The Gen 3 guns are no longer have any intellectual property protection. That's why Palmetto State Armory and basically anywhere out there that's making guns makes fucking Glock 19s. Like if you want to make a polymer handgun and make money doing it, you build a Glock 19 and you just give it a different name and people will buy it. That's why Palmetto State Armory could sell Glock 19s for $250. So you just got a Glock ad on the opening stream. Nice. Oh, nearly a dozen. I'm sorry. I thought it said 2 dozen. I can see why Sean is fat if he thinks a dozen's 24. Yeah, well, I thought it said 2 dozen. So only 12. Oh, no, 12. Holy shit. Help us. Yep, Generation 3, Glock 19, 3D print them. Yes, or like behind me. You can print a Gen 3 Glock 17. Your Gen 2 Glock 17 is awesome. I've shot a Gen 2 before. Those are neat. I like the sides on it. I like the finish. So these people got exposed to Tylenol, chat. And they say the handgun that is not susceptible to use of switches, the G46, also shows that if generally one do Glock and Thor conversion into illegal automatic machine guns. In the G46, a slide cover plate and striker comprise a single metal piece. As a result, the slide cover plate cannot be removed to attach a switch without disabling the gun. However, this model is only available and limited to law enforcement units in Europe and is not marketed or sold within the United States. I think that's actually a import issue. I think the ATF would have a problem with that. Honestly. I think there's an issue there with that. And they say the switches are inexpensive, readily available, and easy to install. Of course they are. It's distressingly easier to acquire a Glock switch. 3D printers go burr. I'll stick to my Hellcat Pro. Yeah, it's too small. Well, that's a problem. That's the other reason why too. The Glock 46 is smaller. You know, they're cheap and they're not hard to manufacture. And they say some overseas Glock switch manufacturers sell their products directly through foreign companies like Alibaba. Others do through U.S. companies. And in 2019, law enforcement recovered 5 switches from the home of an individual who bought them on Wish for $10 each. Yeah, so go to Wish. Go cry to them. Springfield Armory all the way. No, thank you. My first pistol was an XD45. And I'm like, yeah, I'll pass on that going forward. It's all lawfare. It's 100% lawfare. All this is. This is attempting to scare, not necessarily Glock, but these smaller places. Rainier Arms is a bigger company, but, you know, that Pantel Tactical we looked at, how much money do you think those guys, and this is something to think about here, chat, how much money do you think Pantel Tactical can afford to spend defending themselves in a lawsuit like this against the city of Seattle? How much money? Not very much. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money for them. So this is the issue here. It's not the problem. This is about costing money at the end of the day. If the city of Seattle could scare the dealers and the FFLs away, that's almost as big a victory as just getting rid of Glock, because they're never going to get rid of Glock. Glock can bury Seattle with money, but the city of Seattle can outspend each one of those FFLs that's involved in this. So yes, the process is the punishment. Yep. I was all about that grip. So no, I had a XD45 in like 2008. Got my AR-15 in 2008 as well. My Rock River. back when that was the hot shit. You guys talk about Hodge defense and all the cool stuff now. It's like Rock River at one point was like the bee's knees for strip blowers. It just guns, period. But no, I got rid of that before the grip zone. I got rid of that with by 2012. Just did not like it. Did not like it. Yeah. John Crump is saying that is a point. Yes, it is. And if you're that John Crump, hello. Yes, that is 100% the point. It's about scaring the little guys, because if they do that, then they're not involved with Glock. And Glock says, hey, will you be a distributor? And they're like, or a dealer. And they're like, nope. Don't want to get sued. So they say recently the feds have, you just had an Rock River pistol. Yeah. Keopath says Rock River. I thought they made alcohol. No, Rock River Arms out of Kelowna, Illinois. For a long time, they were the hot shit in AR-15s. They were the hot shit in ARs for a while. So it's going back to a time when you youngins don't remember. So recently, federal authorities seized over 350 internet domains that were used to import and sell auto-sears. Based! Absolutely based! Flood the United States with automatic sears, including glass switches. Despite ATF efforts, switchies are still readily available online for purchase. Based. Again. Tim is saying left-handed ARs. No, you're thinking of Stag. Stag was the left-handed people. They were the big ones. Oh, sorry. Hold on, chat. There you go. Sorry. Thank you, Chinny. You saved it. You saved the day. Oh. They say as of August 2025, switches can be purchased from VetoWhisper.com. That's not an endorsement, chat, but you might want to go look it out. The website includes step-by-step instructions for installation. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm just saying, here you go. Or if you got a 3D printer, it goes brrr. Glock switches can also be produced using 3D printers and downloadable blueprints that are readily available. Investigators with the New Jersey State Commission of Investigation, that just SCI, that sounds bad, who had no prior experience with 3D printing, were able to print a switch in less than 12 minutes for less than $1. Based. Again, absolutely based. Absolutely based in every way. Special agent in charge of the Seattle division of the ATF stated individuals can find these devices anywhere on the internet through sources and are being made overseas and imported. They're being made here locally with 3D printing. Okay. Crazy Poro says, Vito, not that Vito. I'm sure Vito whispers to people when he meets them. It says the Glocks have harmed Seattle residents and are draining the resources of law enforcement. Okay, so machine guns have been heavily regulated by Washington federal law since the 30s because of the immense danger posed by automatic gunfire and the frequent use of machine guns in crimes, including gangland massacres. That is not true at all. Other than the St. Valentine's Day massacre, there wasn't automatic weapons typically used. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. This is just horseshit. Remember, chat, the number one purchaser of automatic weapons and military equipment in the 1920s and 30s were private corporations to deal with labor disputes. So, and also remember, we've mentioned this before, the initial National Firearms Act was going to have handguns placed on it. In fact, all semi-automatic weapons were going to be restricted items that required a tax stamp initially. But at that point, even the Department of Justice admitted that's unconstitutional as fuck. We can't do that. So remember, every handgun was going to be placed on that. All you would have access to as a U.S. citizen would have been pump-action shotguns, break-action rifles, bolt-action rifles, and lever-action guns. Everything else would have required a stamp. Eric says union busting, but also dealing with violent communists. So that was a thing too. So real quick though, we got some comments here we need to hit up real quick. There's some good stuff here. Let's see here. Sweet Jesus Love You says, sweet, just got home in time to catch the sandwich stream. Well, thank you. Puffin, the Valkyrie, for 750 ISK for a super sticker. Thank you. Let's see here. Seller says, why are cops using so many of these scary weapons? That I know it's a contradiction. Makes you think. BobTube says, for $5 dues, if the scholars have to use P320s instead, will crime take care of itself? One would hope so. One would hope so. Gabriel Loken says maybe they should worry about the homeless. Well, that doesn't do anything. Then they can't taking care of the homeless doesn't allow them to expand and abuse their power as government. So let me see here. Letty for $4.99 says the suppressor tax goes away in January. Correct. Yep, it does. You getting anything, and is anything else becoming tax-free? Well, I mean, I probably will get some things, but until then, I'm not sure. I really want to finish the 40mm launcher because I found the Odin blueprints, the 3D printed files. I'm going to try to do it. I got to find the right 40mm pipe, though, because I want to make the 40mm 3D printed. I think that'll be a lot of fun to make that go bloop. Kia Pat says the Glock 17 is the foundation, but the 19 is the pretty girl everyone loves. Yes. Kia Pat is saying that California is using the same argument to outlaw all striker-fired pistols. We call it the Glock ban. Well, yeah, it's a thing. Even Smith & Wesson, all the striker-fired guns are going to be on the chopping block. So it doesn't matter. Remember, it's never going to stop with what they're asking for. It's everything is what they want. Jose says, what's with the sudden popularity of Mausers now? Well, remember, I mean, are they Mausers really, or is it a Mauser-style action? Like that picture of the gun we saw, of the Charlie Kirk guy. Is that an actual like sporterized Mauser that's put into a modern stock, or is that just a Mauser-style pattern of rifle? Because the Mauser pattern has been around forever. We don't really know yet. But thank you for that. And he says, Jose says, fun fact, anti-switchy Glocks are illegal to sell in Cali due to the handgun roster. And that's the way it works in Cali, guys. When you sell a handgun in California, they have to inspect and approve it. And they have to approve every version of it that you want to sell. So if I sell a handgun that's all black, that requires special approval. If I want to change the color of it, that requires special approval through the California DOJ. And if I don't have the approval, I can't sell it there. Then Jose says that switchies are almost 30 years old. The patent was filed in 1996. Yep, but it wasn't until recently people were able to find it and capitalize on it and really do something with it. Very true. Matt mocked the shit out of that rifle that Robinson used. I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to take a look at that. So, didn't the court smack down the roster? I mean, a lot of stuff's been attacked in Cali, but it survived. Wasn't the roster considered unconstitutional? I don't think so. And besides, it got appealed up to the Ninth Circuit and it was put into effect. Remember, anytime there's a pro-gun victory, the Ninth Circuit stops it. They say since 1933, Washington has outlawed any machine gun or any part thereof. And that's true, guys. Some states have always outlawed machine guns. Any weapon that's fully automatic is a machine gun under Washington law. So it's any mechanism or instrument not requiring the trigger to be pressed for each shot and having a reservoir clip for storing, carrying, supplying ammunition, which can be loaded into the firearm. For civilians, it's a Class C felony to own or possess a machine gun. And federal law also prohibits the sale, transfer of any possession of a machine gun to any person who's not authorized by the Attorney General. Yep, under 18 U.S.C. 922. And the term machine gun is defined to include conversion devices under 26 U.S.C. 5845. Once again, guys, that is the NFA itself. And remember, Title 26 of the United States Code is the tax code. And remember, the NFA wasn't initially just a tax. That's all it was meant to be initially. Jose says, actually, the ATF first caught them being imported in 2002. Really? Wow. I thought it was really like from like 2010 onwards. I didn't know it was that early. They say these laws have virtually eliminated automatic weapons from city streets for decades. But because of the switchies, now machine guns are back and they're everywhere. I know. Switchies are everywhere, chat. You got to love your switchies.
Switchy. No talk. No cap. No talk.
No cap, indeed. No cap, indeed. The switches wreak havoc. Do they really wreak havoc? Seattle Police Department tracks the number of shell casings recovered at each shooting incident. A significant increase in shell cases could reflect an increase in the use of automatic guns, such as converted Glocks. It could also just mean that guys are, getting down a lot more. If there's a lot of shell casings, maybe the homies wanted to get down and they really wanted to throw some hate at each other. Maybe they have a stendo they're running. Maybe they're running one of the sticks, 30-round mags. Maybe it's just a lot of guys banging it out. Maybe it's one guy with 6 guns. We don't know. The number of shell casings that police recover each week has increased dramatically from 2020 to 2024. Wait, so like from there, it's just going up and up and up and up. It almost sounds like it's an exponential growth pattern. And like this week, they recovered 10 million shell casings. So in 2020, the recovered casings were 2,500 total. And in 2023, it was 5,746. The finding may reflect the rising popularity of machine gun devices like the Switch. Yeah, or just people are wanting to fucking do it. So, yeah, I wonder what happened between 2020 and 2024 that caused crime to increase. I know. It's not like people were able to demonstrate that Seattle will let people engage in lawlessness and establish some anarcho-communist commune right in the middle of the city or anything like that. That never happened. That never happened in 2020. Maybe that encouraged people to realize the government doesn't actually care about law and order. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me. I don't know. I just think a lot. I think too much. That's my problem. Just like Sean Bean said in Ronin, I think too much. Yes, the Chaz or the Chop. Yes. Where the communists set up their own government and all they accomplished to do was murder a couple of black kids in record time. So the city's then police chief, Adrian Diaz, expressed concern about the Glocks following a shooting in Soto in which about 80 rounds were fired. He explained one of the biggest hardships is the amount of rounds fired. He said 4 years ago, we had 2,500. In 2023, we had over 5,700. Those are rookie numbers. You got to get them up. Chat. Wasn't there also rape in Chaz? Yes. You don't say grape. We say rape. We don't say pew-pews. We don't say unalived. No. Rape. Murder. Guns. We say rape here, chat. We're not afraid.
Rape.
We're not afraid, chat. We're not afraid. We don't do that shit here. And they say not just double, more than double. Based. Converted Glocks allow somebody to switch a gun to an automatic and fire 50 rounds in a matter of seconds. Yeah. Glock switches are growing in popularity. Devices like the Switch are now the most frequently covered type of illegal firearm, accounting for 55% of firearms recovered in ATF trafficking investigations between 2017 and 2021. Yes, according to the DOJ, and I'm sure the DOJ doesn't lie about that. So, the National Firearms Commerce and Trafficking Assessment published by the ATF. Remember, the same guys who traffic guns to the fucking cartels. Said that the conversion devices recovered in crimes of trace increased 784% between 2019 and 2023. Oh, God, it's hot. My window's not open. That's why. I was wondering why. Over 11,000 such devices were recovered during this period. Okay. However, there are much higher numbers that have not been submitted for tracing. Well, how do you know that? You don't know that. You don't actually know. Yes, I'm sweaty. So Joe Biden issued an executive order about the 3D printed switchies. They say law enforcement agency recovered 12,000 switchies between 2020 and 2024. Look, during the Biden presidency, it took off. It increased. So the nationwide Glock switchers are clearly present in Seattle. The police covered one or more machine gun conversion devices in 20 separate incidents in 2023. The first year it began tracking the data. In 2024, the number rose to 38. In 2024, the police recovered a bundle of 100 uninstalled Glock switchies. F's in the chat for the switchies. F's in the chat for those poor switchies that never got to be used. So sad. It's likely many more converted Glocks have been used in crimes in the area, but have not been recovered. Well, no shit. And they say in many cases, yes, he issued it with an auto pen, yes. Addressing auto-sears with his auto pen. Oh. In many cases, the converted Glocks police recover have been stolen from their original owner. Okay. So stolen guns are the problem. The number of guns that were reported or stolen has increased from 332 to 465. The use and possession of converted Glocks has terrorized the Seattle public and public spaces. Does it really? Does it really? In 2023, the police arrested a teenager with a Glock, an extended magazine after a car chase, rolling like a real king, a Glock and a stendo. That's good. Jose says that the NFA is gone tomorrow. What's your first machine gun? Mag 58. Mag 58. Or an M240. I think that would be so cool. Like, if I had any choice of, like, stuff right now, if I could, like, have my pick of anything at all ever manufactured that I could get, I don't know. I think a Madsen machine gun would be pretty neat. Would be pretty neat there. Full auto MP5 would be a lot of fun too. RPD would be a lot of fun too. A BAR would be a lot of fun as well. Yeah. So the teenager is driving a car that was stolen from an 83-year-old woman. Following the incident, he says, I've never known a time where we've had the number of high-round incidents that we've had. Well, what? High-round incidents? He didn't shoot anything. They arrested a kid with, a fucking gun. How is this a high-round incident? No, once again, how do we know they're counting things the way they're counting stuff? In July of 2024, 13 and 14-year-old were arrested for flashing guns at the parade in Seattle. 2 of the guns the officers recovered were converted Glocks. You know what, chat? These 13 and 14-year-olds and those kids in the switchy thing go harder in the Second Amendment paint than any of us ever will. Those kids are carrying fucking illegal automatic weapons, and they're like, I don't give a fuck. Those kids are awesome. Those kids are awesome in that regard. Yes, Seattle, the Seafair is the summer celebration for Seattle. Okay. And one of the Glocks was modified with a 30-round extended magazine. How is that a modification? How is that a modification? Really, how is that a modification? That's literally like OEM equipment. Glock made 30-round magazines. That's not a modify. Like, if I put a regular magazine in it, remember, Glock makes 30-round magazines, but the ones it came with, does that mean it's OEM? Does that make it okay? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, it's an accessory. And Roscoe says, I have to go to court tomorrow for a settlement. Can I wear blue jeans and a polo? Probably. I would talk to your attorney and ask them ahead of time just to make sure. But yeah, I couldn't see that being a problem. Collared shirt's always a good idea. So Keopathic says, I don't see a magazine as part of the firearm. They see it as a mod. I hate my state. I'm sorry to hear that. So yes, the standard Glock 18 magazine is 30 rounds, 33 rounds. Yep. The Freedom Sticks. And in May 2025, 3 people were shot to death and a 4th wounded in Seattle. Prosecutors said the gun used was a converted Glock. Okay, according to who? What we're seeing now in case referred to as dozens and dozens of rounds that are being fired, where 10 years ago, or even 5 rounds, you didn't see as many scenes where a high number of rounds are being fired. And they say a senior prosecutor says it's the new status symbol. It used to be a revolver, then it was a Glock. Now it's a Glock with a switch. Yes, criminals like flashy guns. And an automatic weapon is flashy and dashy. Yes. Yes, like you guys have figured it out. Then in August, a converted Glock, and honestly, you know what they'll do at some point if you were to make these so you couldn't do that? These guys would figure out how to file down and modify the internals permanently, so if you pull the trigger, it becomes a runaway gun. Like, that's the next step, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. So, in August, a converted Glock was used in a shooting in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. They left the man seriously injured from multiple gunshot wounds to his leg. Okay, but, that's it? All right. Converted Glocks have been involved in other Western Washington crimes. Well, we're not in Western Washington. Police arrested a 20-year-old Willoughby guy in connection with a road rage shooting. When investigators found his apartment, they found a converted Glock, but was that used? And they say the police were dispatched to a repair shop after they reported seeing a firearm in a customer's trunk and bullet holes in his vehicle. Well, no shit, he's getting his auto glass repaired. That's kind of funny. When the police arrived, the customer went in the bathroom. Police later found 2 guns stashed in the cabinet below the sink, one of which was a converted Glock. A search of the man's car revealed 5 additional firearms, including a rifle equipped with an auto-sear, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, body armor, and 2 IEDs. Really? That one I don't know about. I don't know about that one. In 2024, Tacoma, 2 people were left injured. Yep, they found another handgun with a switchy. The police arrested a 21-year-old with a converted Glock. A 16-year-old was arrested for pointing a gun at another student in the parking lot. The victim told police he was in the back seat when the suspect pointed a gun at him through the windshield, and they recovered a Glock 19 from the vehicle. The Glock was a Gen 5. The generation that has a small plastic protrusion that supposedly makes it more difficult. Okay, well, they don't say that this one had a switch. Notice this one doesn't contain the language. So, yeah, nobody seems to have died from a converted Glock right now. A chilling aspect of the surge is its effect on minors. Many incidents involving Glocks, both in Seattle and nationwide, involve teenagers as either the victim, assailant, or both. Yeah. Well, it's like that one song we played that one night from Seattle or Chicago. It's Nuck. It's Nuck. The guns go bop, 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 bop. Yes, they love their Glocks. They love their Glocks with the Stendos and the Trommel mags. And they say Glocks have become more prominent. The rules of gun use have shifted partially due to the Glock's glorification of automatic weapons as fun. Glock has not done that. People have glorified it. As a result, the view Glocks are a status symbol and provide competitive advantage. Okay, but Glock's glorification of automatic weapons is fun. Where did Glock do that? Yes, Glocks are cool. They are cool. And Glocks, they drain the resources. Okay, so they're wasting resources, chat. Not only do they increase the number of gun violence, but the indiscriminate string of bullets increase the number of shell casings found at crime scenes. When the number of shots fired is elevated, the officers and investigators need to collect casings. And that's what their argument is. It's taking us more time to investigate a crime scene. I don't fucking care. Who the fuck cares? Come on now. Nobody fucking cares, man. Really, what the fuck? What the fuck? They say after an incident of gun violence in Seattle, the response time and resource intensive for the Seattle Police Department. First, the victims receive emergency first aid and the scene is secure. Next, shell casings are all flagged and marked. And then research is conducted to determine the source of the casings and the firearms involved. Other evidence and stuff is also collected. This sounds like a them problem, yes. Sweep it up, Jannies! That's right, chat. The cops are Jannies. And chat, this is actually a big thing here. I agree with the Seattle Police Department. If you decide you're going to, if you decide to go put in work and it's time to get down, police up your shell casings. Like this is a free, this is not legal advice, but it's just be considerate. If you decide at some point, it's time to get down and you go put in work somewhere and you start laying down some hate, help the police by sweeping up your shell casings, pick them up and take them with you. That way they don't have to waste time collecting them. Be kind. It's like be kind, rewind. Yes. Police your brass, chat. Oh. Yes, don't cause extra works for the cops. Yes. Is that legal advice? No. It's just considerate advice for your fellow man. Be good to the environment. Yes. Like a Boy Scout, leave no trace. That is actually legal advice. Leave no trace of your passing. Phantom says, be swell, clean up your shells. Yes, always wear hand protection when loading magazines. Yes. Make sure you wipe down your rounds individually with some oil so they don't get corrosion on them. Make sure you wipe down your ammunition. You don't want to leave fingerprints on there collecting oil. So, yes, and recycle your brass. So, the time required to complete these steps increases significantly when a converted Glock is involved. So, some guy sits there, like they start using Dracos. Guess what? It's going to be the same problem. With each casing need to be individually investigated. The prevalence of Glocks at crime scenes has also increased the time the officers need to secure the scene, handle firearms, and ensure the bystanders and safety of bystanders. And they say Glocks fail to address the known problems, and it's an ongoing harm to the public health and safety of Seattle. Once again, guys, we're bringing up this is a nuisance issue. This is a nuisance issue. It's a nuisance issue. Remember that. That's where we're going. And this is all bullshit. Yes, it is. I thought at least in Chicago, like in Chicago's, they cite all the rap videos, and this one doesn't. I'm very disappointed. So they claim the number of shots fired, is rough because they have specialized task forces that focus on disrupting gun violence in heavily impacted neighborhoods, meaning black neighborhoods. And they say for shootings that would not have occurred, but for the converted Glock, I'm sure these shootings were going to happen anyway if they were using something like a Jimenez or a Lorson or a Brico or a Jennings or a Smith & Wesson or whatever they can get their hands on. It's not like these guys are like, oh, I so want to fucking kill this guy, but God damn it, I don't have a full auto Glock. No. Such bullshit. Shooting scenes draw enormous resources from the city and first responders. They say even for shootings that would have otherwise occurred, the additional resources required for shootings with full auto weapons are significant. They often involve more victims and more shots fired in a shorter time. The city employees must address additional bystander harm and track down additional casings and bullet holes. The city also incurs follow-on costs and lost opportunity costs. Yes, they can't give out all the money they spend on overtime collecting shell cases. They can't give out heroin needles to trannies. Oh. Debbie O is saying, she's like, actually, in Seattle, the black population is pretty small. Most of the gang violence are Mexicans. Thank you for correcting me. I guess we need to send ICE in there, too. LPR says, hi, Sean. How you doing? Blaine says, I live in Seattle. They'd use a Home Depot blunderbuss if it meant they got the kill. Remember, you can build a shotgun out of 3/4-inch pipe from Home Depot. A 12 gauge is about 3/4 of an inch. It fits rather uniquely into the pipe. And then you just, grind it down the outside till it can fit inside a 1-inch pipe. And then, you can make it go boom. Things that make you go boom, chat. Maybe one day I would do. Maybe one day. You guys want to do that one day out in the garage? We'll go into like Rumble and we'll build a fucking pipe gun. I know you guys, like a bunch of people have done it before, but maybe we'll do that one night. I'll sit here and make a fucking pipe gun. That'll be fun. Rest in peace, Shinzo Abe. Yeah. There's also the Abe special. Yeah, we could do that another day, too. We could do a Shinzo Abe gun. So, they say when the Glock involves shootings, injure or kill Seattle residents, the city loses out on that resident's contributions to the community. Oh, that's it, chat. We can't cure cancer because of the gang violence. We can't cure cancer because of the gang violence. Oh, no, chat. Oh, fucking no. Such a tragedy. Such a tragedy. That is awful. That is awful. We don't have any more SoundCloud rappers. The shootings can be more difficult to investigate and solve. How? Lowering the crime occurrence rate, which is probably already really fucking low because people don't snitch. Yes. The less heroin and bathtub HRT being used hurts the local economy. Oh, I agree. Yes, and Johnny Osprey. Yes, they pay taxes? When the fuck did that happen? When did they start paying taxes? I don't know. They say, in addition, a drive-by shooter can ride off before anyone sees their face. That's normal in every situation. That's every drive-by shooter could drive off. Bop, 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 and drive away. Wait till they learn what I could do with a rubber band and an AR-15. Oh, my God. Make PA Ludi proud. Okay, I don't want to go to prison, so I'm not going to do that. But yes, PA Ludi was a very based man. Even King County U.S. citizen DSP doesn't pay taxes. Well, yes. But yeah, every drive-by shooting's that way. And the extra seconds it takes for me to drop empty a mag dump a Glock 17 is not going to be enough for me to get identified. The lower crime clearance rate deters fewer crimes. Why don't they just say a lower crime clearance rate entices people to commit more crimes? Emboldens criminals and leads to more crime and violence. Yeah. Yes, crimes involving converted Glocks are successfully investigated also incur arrest cost. Every gun crime's going to incur arrest cost. Didn't you want to defund the police anyway? The enticement, including the anonymity and fun, Glock. Automatic weapons are fun, chat. Of converted Glocks can lead to people, especially young people, to commit shootings they otherwise would not. Oh, that's it. It's the switchy that made me do it. No, we're past, there ain't nothing to it. The gangster rap made me do it. Well, no, there ain't nothing to it. The switchy made me do it. It's like, come on now. If you fucking hate this guy, if you hate somebody enough to fucking shoot him, you'll fucking shoot him. So, and they say that the converted Glocks increase residents' perceived risk of certain areas. So perceived, not meaning an actual risk, but you know what this means? It means the white, of certain areas, meaning the white folks stay out of the black neighborhoods. The white folk don't come downtown when the YNs are running around. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like they need more cops. I agree. And they say these pose an unacceptable risk of public safety. Do they really? They limit the shooter's ability to aim and control the gun. Well, you guys are banning regular guns anyway. Unlike a semi-automatic handgun, an auto has virtually no delay between bullets to allow the shooter to control the recoil because successor shots are fired almost instantaneously. I mean, that's the point of an automatic weapon. Automatic handguns are therefore difficult to aim and control, even for trained shooters. This increases the likelihood shooters will spray many bullets indiscriminately. They do that anyway. When you're shooting like this, you're doing that anyway. Hitting unintended victims and causing additional property damage. And they say Glock is aware of how difficult it can be to fire automatic versions. Glock manufactures a full auto handgun, the Glock 18, yes, which is based and which is available to law enforcement. Gaston Glock enjoyed showing off the full auto Glock 18 to police officers and potential customers. Yeah, cool. And they say during these demonstrations, many embarrassed police officers inadvertently pepper the ceiling of company shooting ranges with rounds. Yeah, because if you're not paying, like that is true. I've shot like a Glock 18 or a full auto Glock 4. If you're not paying attention, it'll fucking run away on you. Like it will take off. Kind of like an M2 carbine. An M2 carbine, you think like, oh, it's a little gun, you can handle it. No, when it's like you have to lean into it because it kind of wants to go what when you fire it. It's very powerful. It's a lot there. It's a lot there. You really got to lean into it. So, a poster on Glock forum described a person shooting a converted Glock by saying, "He must have shot every pellet in sight. The guy's wrestling the gun to hold it down. Funny." And they say the recent shootings in Western Washington, they say the rapid fire, and notice they're just going back again and again and again, is difficult to control, puts innocent lives in danger. People were getting shot in the fucking hood all the time. In some of these locations, you arrive and there are bullet strikes at totally unintended targets. That happens all the time. That happens all the fucking time. The backstop becomes these homes in these neighborhoods. That's always been the case. Vehicles are involved in the situation. That's always been the case. Innocent bystanders, always been the case. And the Maryland Attorney General said, ATF, I'll just call it spray and pray. Fuck the ATF agents, what they call it. They're bitches. They say in November, 4 people, like, they talk about like, oh, some guy used a converted Glock to kill people and shoot up a place. In April, 6 people were killed and 12 officers were injured in a shooting in downtown Sacramento. They estimated at least 100 shots were fired. At least one of the guns used was a Glock. I bet that guy had a fucking rifle too. Wounding 12 officers, that's pretty impressive. They say in May, a guy in 2022 had a Glock with a stendo on it into a crowd outside of McDonald's, just blocks from the Magnificent Mile. The shooter killed 2 people and wounded 7. You know, they talk about all these other things here. Yeah, like this is all just bullshit. Nobody fucking cares. You know, these are all fucking, this is all gang violence, basically. This is all gang violence when you read through all these things here. You know, these people shooting in the like mag dumping in the crowds. Yeah, this is all just fucking tampon ringing. So, anyways, Glock knows a semi-automatic handguns can be easily converted. So, Gaston's Glock demonstrations of the prototype Glock switch as early as 1988 and the illegal use of intellectual property on Glock switches. That's interesting. 1988. I didn't know that goes back that far, but say the full auto Glock 18 only has minor changes from the semi-auto Glock 17. Yeah. That's true between an M16 and an AR-15 or an M4 and an AR-15. There's literally no, like, there are minor changes. Essentially, the Glock 18 is a variation of the Glock 17 with the selector switch. The invention and promotion of the AT confirm its knowledge that Glock's base handgun is inherently able to support both full and semi-auto firing modes. And they point out that in 1987, a Venezuelan mechanical engineer named Jorge Leon invented a fire selector system for use on the Glock 17. The selector system manufactured by his business used a design that resembles the Glock switches used today. It holds down the trigger bar after the trigger is pulled and does not allow it to rise until the trigger is released. Glock became aware of the invention through Glock's Venezuelan distributor and traveled to the country for a demonstration in the 80s. And then Glock did it, and Glock advised Leon to stop development on the device and leave it as a curiosity. That's because he's a cocked European. From this meeting 36 years ago, Glock knew firsthand that a non-Glock employee, far from the European or Georgia operations, could create and fabricate an auto-sear. Years later, he did it as the fire selector system for the Glock. His patent application described his invention in nearly the exact terms Glock used to describe the Glock 18. And then in the early 2000s, Glocks began to appear in connection with crimes in the United States. In 2003, the investigation of a South American arms trafficker, they had 7 converted Glocks and an additional 9 switchies. And Glock knows that switchies are being sold and branded with Glock's intellectual property. Well, yeah, it's being sold on Wish and Alibaba. You can't cease and desist the fucking Chinese. That doesn't work here. That doesn't work here, guys. So they said that Glock was contacted about the legally imported switches. And they aware that switches are being available for purchase on the internet on websites like eBay. Is Glock supposed to run around ceasing and desisting everybody? They can't keep up with that. It's whack-a-mole. Glock switches have become so popular that some people have mailed them to the company's headquarters because they have made switchies. People make them with the Glock, logo on the back. And many Glock switches are branded with the trademark logo. Yeah. Are you going to stop a guy in China? Yeah. So here you go. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you're Glock? Are you going to tell the Chinese to stop making these? Might as well tell them to stop making fentanyl. Glock has failed to stop companies in fucking China from using the trademarks. How are you going to stop them? How are you going to stop them? And they say, according to allegations in Minnesota's case against Glock's general counsel forwarded an email from Glock's outside IP counsel to an ATF employee. The email Glock's intent to send cease and desist letters to entities selling switches on Instagram and YouTube. The email shows Glock's knowledge of the infringement and the sales of illegal Glock switches. Okay. So they've asked, they sent out cease and desist. Like, what more do you like? And they say, despite all of this, Glock switches remain branded. Oh, once again, yeah, are you going to stop China from doing this? Well, yes. Email the Tianjin Industrial Mining Concern, to quote the great Ave, the Tianjin Industrial Mining Concern. Are they going to say, oh, it's okay, yeah, still go? Oh, no, sorry, great Americans. Oh, you with your big American penises. We shall stop infringing upon your intellectual properties. Oh, many forgiveness. Like, what do you think's going to happen? This lawyer's retarded for writing this bullshit. No, they're just like, we're going to cease and desist. Yeah, and you're going to tell fucking, a guy on eBay, Dildo Writer 1987, what's going to happen? Yeah, I'm sure he's going to listen to you because he cares. Okay, fine, I'll stop today. 2 days later, he's going to be up as like Dildo Writer 2121. So, I'm like, there's no way to stop this. There's no way for them to stop this. There's no way to stop this. Now, here's the other problem. Their marketing has been so successful. Like, yes, shame on Glock. Shame on Glock for being popular and their marketing worked. Shame on them. Is that my eBay account? Well, you're going to have to find out. Dildo Writer, shut that way too quickly. Yes, Dildo Writer 1987 has a seat on the what do they call that in China? What do they call the Chinese Politburo? What do they call it? The Central Committee. The Central Committee. Or is it the Standing Committee? No, Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah. No, it's a Standing Committee of the Central Committee. Okay, so it's one or the other. Whatever. Central Committee. What year was I born again? 1985. So try again. And they say Glock only knows that is actively contributed to the problem by encouraging Glock owners to install aftermarket accessories. Once again, glorifying automatic weapons is fun. Citation needed. Show me where they do that. Show me where they do that. Show me where they do that. But yes, Glock, Glock does encourage aftermarket stuff. Yes, I was born in 85. They say law enforcement says converted Glocks are a status symbol. Okay. They think it's cool. It is cool. They think it looks cool. It does look cool. It sounds cool. Yes. They want to brag about it. I would love to brag about having a switchy. Makes them seem more deadly. Yes. Yes. All of this is true. This is all of it true. So, in pop music, Glock switchies and the idioms of spraying or blitzing victims with converted Glocks have become common. The song Jimmy Cooks by Drake. And they talk about this Glock 45 came up with a switch. They talked about, you know, the Glock in my lap. I sprayed a whole block. I don't give a damn. You know, he says, I just got a brand new Glock with a 50 and a switch. I just popped one of my ops. I'm finna go do another hit. Based. That's how you got to do it, chat. Seattle music artist Grayland T means he's probably a fucking SoundCloud rapper. Never heard of him. Released a music video for their single titled Glock Switch. I bounce out perfect time and hit that nigga with a Glock switch. Really? This is a real song? Grayland. Okay, we're going to look for this song real quick. We're going to look for this song. Glock. Is this really a song? Oh my God, this is a real song. Here we go, chat. Here we go.
Nigga, fuck this sucker, nigga. My mama, nigga. He had 7K, nigga. He never slid, nigga.
PBSK, all that.
He threw there hella times, nigga.
PBSK, all that.
Fuck PBS, nigga. And fuck the 5, nigga.
I agree. Fuck the 5. I don't know who they are. And then DBSK, fuck those guys too. Whoever they are, fuck them all. Yes, guys, look at this conference of cancer doctors. Look at this conference these cancer doctors. They're getting ready to have a symposium.
Yeah, I see right there.
Fuck the 5, nigga. Fuck the 5, nigga. Fuck PBS, nigga. Fuck all crap, nigga.
Wait, he said fuck PBS. Why are we against, like, I don't like public broadcasting either, but damn. Yeah, are they talking about Fox as the 5? They don't like Greg Gutfeld. No.
I said, let's go.
Oh, baby, come on. How you gonna do this shit right now?
I told you don't shoot nobody. First thing you do when we walk this motherfucker is shoot somebody.
Cause that's what I do. I kill motherfuckers. You know that?
Alright. Ducking gang test, bitch. I'm outside. G17, Gen 5, bitch, you gon' die. I can put it on the set, I'm bouncing out with this fully 9. Brother got catered. Keep pole jumping. Fuck the suckers, I'm on 128 and I'm pole hugging. I can tell them push up, but they ain't.
Okay, these guys are bitches because they don't have shots of them with all carrying guns yet. Like, you can tell these guys are fucking awful. This is pussy rap. This is pussy rap, guys.
On nothing. He thought I was pump fake until I let off button. And this is no cap. I'm outside chasing chicken, trying to get the cash. Why the suckers little talk like where you at?
Yeah, see, this is awful. This is awful. These guys fucking suck. Like this guy at least, like this guy here. These guys carry guns right off the bat.
No business.
So, and this is PGF Nuck. But these guys, like, they got guns right off the bat.
You did this?
See, like, these guys actually fucking do shit. So, give them credit. Give them credit. So that's why I'm just saying, like, some of these are better than others. But like, those Seattle guys are bitches, man. They ain't even got guns there. Yeah, he recorded that video after doing his homework. So, Fat Man, you did this. Yes, I did. So they point out that switches and Glocks also appear in games like Roblox. Okay. Oh no, it's in Roblox. I upgraded my Glock switch in my new Roblox hood game. A Roblox hood game sounds like fun. That sounds. I would play that. I would play that. You know, Glock promotes the ease with which its guns can be accessorized. You know, they point out the guns are manufactured with only 34 parts, less than our competitors. Yes, that's safe and reliable. You know, the self-described simple and easy gun makes it access parts and accessories. Yep. You know, customers are encouraged to customize. Correct. You know, range of aftermarket things, including a slide plate. They say that there are other companies like Rock Your Glock and Glock Store. Lenny McGill at Glock Store. You know, you can find everything there. Yeah, that's not the worst thing on Roblox. I know. Yes, Roblox with all the pedophilia is the bigger concern there. Can't wait for my rap debut. Says, don't leave fucking evidence. Yeah. Yes, you can get finishes, custom finishes, and paint jobs. Like you guys have seen my Glock 19 before with the Cerakoting on it, and getting it milled out for a red dot. There's an Instagram account called Gucci Glocks, and there's a premiere page for Glock porn. Yeah, yeah, because they're cool. Yep, that is a Gucci looking fucking Glock, and it says Glock has run kinds of all things, and my father's full auto Glock 19. Okay, well, he's got a stock on it and a switchy. Might as well go all out once you make it a machine gun. Holy shit. They say, and now here's the thing, Glock promotes his automatic weapons as fun. I love to see the proof of this. On Instagram, the Glock featured a full auto video of the only thing more fun than Glock is full auto Glock. True. The post does not indicate that owning or firing the Glock 18 is generally unlawful for civilian consumers, because it's a fully automatic machine gun. Who cares if they said that? Would it change your position here? But yes, yes, I agree. The only thing more fun than a Glock's a full auto Glock. And they also indicate the user's desire to have a fully automatic Glock of their own. I would kill for a Glock 18. I would. A lot of people would. Yeah, there's only 4 out there on the registry. You're gonna have to get some. Dealer samples if you want them. So in 2023, Glock posted a video of someone firing both semi-auto and fully automatic handguns. As the video countdowns from 10, the shooter fires the number of bullets from a semi-automatic handgun. As the shooter reaches 1, the guy fires a full auto Glock. Okay. The post does not identify it as an 18 that's unavailable to the civilian public. Okay, yeah. The last Glock 18 for sale went for $40,000. Not a surprise at all. And they say the day after, man fired a fully automatic converted Glock into a crowd celebrating New Year's Eve in Mobile. Who cares? But yeah, what do they have to do all that? Because are you going to shit all over every YouTuber that shoots an automatic weapon? Another post, Glock has displayed images of the 18 and the 18C with language glorifying the handguns. It says, double your pleasure, double your fun. And it says the G18 in all its glory. Hashtag Glock porn. Well, it says gun porn, but it does say Glock porn right there. But yeah. Yep. And absolutely fucking sexy looking. 2 Glock 18s. Aw. So cool. So cool. So sexy. Glock continues to show the G18 to visitors all the time. And they say one video shows the USA the Glock Rangemaster showing the Glock 18 off and showing its features off. Pointing to the selector and says, here's what we call the fun switch. Everybody calls it that. Everybody calls the switch on an automatic weapon, regardless of what it is. When you could flick it to full auto, that's called the fun switch. Everybody calls it a fun switch. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I still don't understand that. Because everybody calls it a fun switch. Or it calls it a happy switch. That's one of the names for it. Yes, everybody does. The Rangemaster later fires the Glock one-handed, and visitors are given the chance to fire the Glock 18 themselves. Based. They allowed posts promoting the Glock switch on its official social media. Glock previously configured the settings of its page to display Glock's own posting as well as third parties using that tag Glock. And they say, well, it's been removed. Glock's Facebook included a March posting where an individual had written with emojis mixed in, I want to switch so bad in a 100-round clip. Okay. That post had many likes and shares. Okay. Then that same posting then showed a July 17 video that showed an individual firing a converted Glock. The video caption written in Spanish stated, Disparando una Glock 17 en modo full auto. Con balas explosivas. Simplemente impresionante. I don't know. Fuck, I don't see. That translates to shooting a Glock with explosive bullets. Simply impressive. Okay, well, the explosive 9mm rounds actually sound cool. And Glock didn't untag itself from these posts. as featuring illegal weapons, add a disclaimer, or remove the post and comments from his Facebook. So the fuck what? So the fuck what? A simple word search of Auto on Glock's Facebook produced various videos depicting converted Glocks, including a video from 2015. That video, which had been previously accessible, featured a man declaring he has a Glock 19 auto-sear, and then he shot hundreds of rounds in less than a minute using large capacity magazines. You mean he probably shot 50 rounds? So, anyways, they go on to talk about how the dealers are contributing to the nuisance. And they talk about, these are all the Glock dealers. These are all the Glock dealers here. So they talk about all the stuff, these guys do. Pantel Tactical lists 44 types of Glock handguns. They also list dozens of Glock parts and aftermarket accessories. Rainier Arms lists 8 Glock handguns. They also sell hundreds of other Glock parts. And they also sell trigger modifications and compensators, devices that mitigate the gases coming out of your barrel so your gun shoots flatter, allowing for quicker and easier follow-up shots. Yes, if you're trying to make a Roland Special or a competition gun, yes, compensators are great. They also have a step-by-step to Glock upgrades. Okay, so what? The step-by-step guide is just one of a series of blog posts. They talk best trigger, best barrels, selecting Glock sights, and how to build a Glock handgun at home. And they say how to build your own Glock by purchasing each part separately. Okay. And they say Bullseye Indoor Range has a Facebook page with 5,000 followers. We're all probably boomers. The page includes a number of posts mentioning or advertising Glock pistols and Glock rentals. Yeah, at a range, you can rent pistols. Yes. Yes. Okay. So they said Pentel Tactical has a page of 4,900 followers. Yes, probably all boomers. They also highlight the Blue Label dealer program. Once again, who gives a shit? They also say, here's the problem. Look at all, great. Ooh, they're selling guns. Ooh. There's Glocktober. Yes. Glocktober is always fun. Look, another Glock. Oh no. Black folks see guns and they're like, I need to kill my neighbor with that. Rainier Arms does have a YouTube channel. They also have a Facebook page. Pentel Tactical have also glorified automatic weapons on their social media pages. Okay, now we're turning into, this is Second Amendment time. Now we're going after the Second Amendment and expressing it. It's also First Amendment speech. It's protected speech. You could argue it's protected political speech. Machine Gun Mondays, once again, protected speech. The Sound of Freedom. Yes, it's all protected political speech. In addition to Second Amendment stuff and advocacy. They offer customers, Rainier Arms allows people to come shoot full autos, and you can rent them. And indulge yourself with the ability to shoot nonstop with the selector switch on auto. It's a great tool which will turn gunpowder into smiles. Yes, machine guns are fun. If you've never shot a machine gun, chat, it is so fucking cool. I've never seen somebody shoot a machine gun and start crying. People shoot a machine gun and they're like, oh, wow. And the first time I got to shoot a full auto gun, I was like, wow. So, yeah, you're missing out. It's still fun now, but it's not as fun the first time. It's like when when people say they're doing heroin. You can't beat that first time you chase a dragon. But oh, look, with an MP5 based. That's not a Glock. This is based upon information and belief, meaning we don't fucking know, but we're going to make it up. And this is our way of not getting in trouble. Everyone knows that the semi-auto handguns can be easily converted. Upon information and belief, the pistols sold by each one have been converted into illegal, fully automatic weapons. See, they would actually be able to know this because they could get access to the ATF trace information the police have run, and that would tell them where the gun originated because the ATF can run that information. through their databases because they have a registry of everything with a 4473. So they could do that. They could totally fucking do that. They say that the individuals in this would have done at least one Glock that was later converted or attempted to be converted. These harm the residents. And they talk about a covered Glock was from somebody that Rainier Arms had sold. Okay, but was it stolen? Sounds like it was stolen though too. The police also found a gun used in a shooting from Pantel Tactical. And then also they found a gun during a search warrant. And that one was sold by Bullseye. Okay, well, so what? So what? Yeah, the full auto is like sex. The first time you're a little nervous, but it's all fun. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yep. Very true. Yep. The scope of this lawsuit is ridiculous. Yeah, but remember, they're trying to get around the PLCAA. Remember, they have to get around the PLCAA. Remember, that's the thing that killed, when Mexico tried to sue Smith & Wesson and everybody. They lost too because the Supreme Court's like, yeah, we ain't doing this. So first cause of action is public nuisance. All garbage here. So they talk about, they're arguing what happens here. Well, this is the statute. And they're saying you shall not knowingly create, maintain, or contribute to a public nuisance in this state through the sale. And now they're talking about here, this statute allows for specifically a firearm industry product. So this is the law that was made for this. So they passed the law specifically for this thing. And they say an actionable nuisance is whatever is injurious to health, so as essentially interfere with the enjoyment of life and property. And under the law, a nuisance is unlawfully doing an act which annoys, injures, or endangers the comfort, repose, health, or safety of others, and renders dangerous for passage any public park, square, street, or highway, and renders other persons insecure in life. So a public nuisance is an actual legal theory you can do. You looked up that gun range, they have a full auto 249. Nice. That would be a lot of fun. And they also say that Glock is now, manufacturing, distributing, importing, marketing a firearm industry product that is designed or sold in a manner that promotes conversion of legal firearm products into illegal firearm industry products. So they claim it's a public nuisance and they constitute a nuisance. They're difficult for shooters to control. Extra people who are more likely to encounter violent scenes are at a great risk of harm. They interfere with the bystander's enjoyment of life. They render public areas dangerous for passage, and render bystanders and officers insecure in life. Notice these are the same people that tell you you don't need guns because crime is at a 30-year low. Well, if it's so bad that you have to do all this shit, I don't know how bad it is. And they say converted Glocks fire many bullets in a short window of time. The resulting spray takes longer for police to investigate, which interferes and depletes resources. Yeah, whatever. Converted Glocks are illegal to possess. However, a switch can be installed or removed in only a few minutes. Okay. The people who generally are doing this probably aren't allowed to own firearms anyway, so it's not really that big a problem. It's easy to convert a Glock back into a legal semi-automatic weapon and vice versa. The ease of conversion makes Glocks difficult to track. Based. And they say the nuisance equally affects the rights of the entire Seattle community. Well, except for the white folks. And to the extent the damage may be unequal, even if it is. So all members of Seattle are at risk of physical harm associated with catching a stray bullet from a converted Glock and are harmed by diverted resources and additional expenditures. They say, but some community members, in particular cops, are more likely to experience the gun violence. I mean, has any cop been attacked with a Glock, Switchy? No. Wow, I cracked there. No! And it says Glock maintains and contributes to proliferation of all this shit. They offer its pistols to sale for Seattle residents, blah, 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 blah. They target United States and Western Washington. And Glock's known since the 80s. It could be converted to a legal full auto. Glock knows the switches are illegal. Glock knows that they're dangerous and require resources, but it refused to take action to prevent the conversions. And these are reasonably foreseeable harms. The city's injured by the nuisance. And, these shootings that would not have occurred but for the converted Glock, the city's opportunity cost is significant. I mean, is it really? These shootings were going to happen anyway. The shooting was going to happen anyway. They talk about the follow-on cost and lost opportunities cost. You lose out on that person's contributions. Nobody buys that. Nobody buys this. But anyways, they point out it's a persistent public nuisance that does not constitute a discrete event or discrete emergency. These are encountered throughout the year and throughout the city. It's an ongoing, persistent threat. Once again, this is horse shit. Horse shit. Yeah. It's a sunk cost fallacy, the broken window fallacy. Well, hey, you know what? People can patch up the holes. Handymen are benefiting from this, and car body shops are. Dealing with converted Glocks is not part of the normal and expected costs of maintaining a local government. You're dealing with crime. The guns are more easily converted to illegal weapons, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Fuck off, commies. And they say public nuisance against the authorized dealers. And once again, they apply under the same things here because they're engaged in wholesale or retail distribution of the guns. They say that because they distribute and market them, their products, because they are firearms. And this is all shit they set up to do this. They're distributed and marketed and intended to be sold in the area. So once again, they point out that a nuisance is injurious to health, which can interfere with the uncomfortable enjoyment of life and property. Now, guys, a nuisance can be a private nuisance too. So, for example, if you have a house and your neighbor's a farmer and he builds a manure pond next to the property line and your house smells like pig shit all day, that can become a nuisance. But a public nuisance is a nuisance that can also involve the public wanting to come near it. So, like a swimming pool can become a public nuisance that, like, little kids are going to want to come up to it. So you have to build a fence. Or if there are mine shafts in an area, you have to make those so people don't want to fuck around on them. So nuisances can be many, many things. So they talk about that, these Glocks are difficult for shooters to control, and they're blaming these guys for knowing about it. And it says this affects everybody in the rights of the Seattle community en masse. And they say the Seattle Department of Police have recovered Glocks used in crimes that were sold by the authorized dealers. And they know that these could be converted. Okay. They keep going. And they say it's foreseeable that these pistols can be converted. And the harms the city have are reasonably foreseeable. So what do they want? They want these declared a public nuisance. And they want the public nuisance to deter and prevent the resumption of the alleged nuisance. They want to enjoin Glock and the authorized dealers, meaning injunctions. They want actual damages, reasonable attorney's fees, and any other relief the court deems proper. So there you go. There you go. Absolute horseshit, chat. Absolute horseshit when you think about it at the end of the day. Let's see. Jose says, I actually live with gun ranges near Cleveland. 76 Armory has an MP7 and an SG44 to rent. How? Hold on here. I've never heard of this place. What the hell is this place at? Oh, it's at Columbia Station. Okay, that's not Cleveland. That's like on the other side of town. Oh, shit. This guy here. Oh, you can't share this. This guy is Columbia War Machine. This guy is a YouTube channel, Columbia War Machine. This is the guy, if you were on locals, this is the guy who shoots, they shot 8 MG42s at a car and cut it in half. This guy has all kinds of shit. So yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, the guy, you could do all kinds of stuff. And it's funny because it's like right down the road from a fucking prison. It's like right there near some stuff. But you guys could do all kinds of like, yeah, he's got a Sturmgewehr, MG42, all kinds of cool shit. All kinds of cool shit. You could do a minigun. You could do the M134 with a 400 round minimum. How much is that? He's got like the twin MG42s on a twin mount, an anti-aircraft mount. He's got the MG42s with the Lafette mount. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, this guy's got all kinds of guns, all kinds of crazy shit. But yeah, he's got his Sturmgewehr you can rent, it looks like. The 44 in full auto is amazing, yes. Like, the Akron hood, what? Well, yeah, dealer samples, but there aren't too many dealer sample MP44s running around. But yes, like the minigun's going to be a dealer sample because the transferable minigun is like $200. Those are $250,000 minimum. The last time I heard one was for sale. So I got the full tripod traverse and elevation for my T&E for my 1919. Cool. Very cool. All right, guys. Real quick. Brimstone says, I drive by Rock River Arms on my way to Springfield Armory every day. Cool. Yep, there's all those two companies are right out there. Letty says, recommendations on an AR-15 with no buffer tube, like the BRN 180 or the PSA Jackal. I've heard a lot better things about the BRN 180 than the Jackal. I would go with the 180 because the Jackal still sounds like you're paying to be a beta tester for PSA. So, I mean, that's just because it's, Focus Trip doing it, but it sounds like the Jackal's a fucking dog. Even the new versions of it. I haven't heard a lot bad about the BRN 180. So, but if you really want to, just buy one like the Law tactical buffer tube adapters where you can store it away. But I've never understood that point. Like, you want something like, just get an AR-15 with like a 11.5-inch barrel. That's what I did. Walter Malone for $5 says, when are you going to have your favorite wind chime salesman Fudbusters back on? Soon. He's done now with his appeals and shit. I'll get him on soon. Grazing Poro for 20. Check. How do you pronounce this? I forget how you pronounce this. The Czech Corona. I'm assuming is for Krona, like crown. For 20 Czech Corona. Thank you. I think it's the first time I've had somebody donate in that. Or said a super chat. Says Kat, Phil's wife, had a switchy before DSP. Now DSP ain't even got Switch 2. Yes. They're talking about the Nintendo Switch chat. Jose said the NFA is gun tomorrow. What's your first machine gun? Still, I'm thinking I've thought about it more now. What would I do? PKM. I think I get a PKM over M240. And I get like a PKM and something cool, like fucking 6.5. Jose says for $2, the Madsen favela maxing on the streets of Cleveland. Oh, 100%. 100%. And then Jose, good. Thank you again, man. I appreciate this. At least the Algerians in France still flex with deagles. Yes, they do. They love their Desert Eagles over there. Keopathic says, soon I'm going to tell you to be a street doctor and retrieve the projectile from the victim. No, I mean, when you think about it, generally, if you got enough, if the gun's powerful enough to kill somebody, it's probably going to go through them. So just get out of there. You'll mingle the projectile too much when you shoot them anyway. Richard Stuplich for $10. Thank you, Richard. Is saying this doc is saying converted sometimes and with a switch at others. Is converted meaning like extended mags, like they also said in here? Converted with an extended mag? I don't know, and that's the problem. They're speaking improperly, and they don't understand how They probably said, fuck it. They understand what it means. But yes, and remember, this judge is going to be a normie. He doesn't understand it. So, yeah, it's going to be part of the response from these guys is going to have to be actually. So, yeah. There. And Blaine says YouTube censors, so I DM'd on Twitter. Okay, well, let me see here. What is the, what did you send? What did you send? Blaine, oh, hold on here. Blaine here, it says, let's see here. I was witness to a shooting. The guy was shooting towards a home, towards a bunch of suburban houses. Jesus. Okay. Oh, I see your. I'll message you back here, Blaine. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then El Augusto says, on X, leftists were celebrating the terrorist murders of immigrants in an attempt to kill ICE agents. They walked it back when I pointed it out. Yeah, you know, those guys got to flare it for real. They got to flare it into the afterlife. I remember, if you guys are just tuning in, the shooting today in Texas, some brave communist vanguard revolutionary type went out there and tried to shoot at ICE agents who were at an ICE facility in Dallas, and all he managed to do was kill the Mexicans that were being detained. So it's like, good job. Good job. It's like U.S. military style. Oh, we bombed the hospital. Whoops. Oh, there's some egg on my face. Jose says, what happens if a young nibba steals your AR and drills the third hole and police recover it? You don't get it back. It's contraband. It is a machine gun now. Once a machine gun, always a machine gun. There's, even if you could weld, and you can weld aluminum, but you're doing the heat treat on the lower. But no, if they do, it's gone. You can't do anything. You can't get the gun back. Now, what would be really funny is if the police didn't realize it was full auto and they just gave you back a full auto weapon. And at that point, I'd tell you, well, you can give it back, or you should just go, shh, and save it for later. It all depends. This lawsuit read like an ad for Glock. It 100% did. I thought it was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful work by the legal department. Making this, and you've convinced me. You've convinced me already. I'm going to buy another Glock, chat. The Glock we have at home. You got your Jimenez. Oh, no. But remember, this is ultimately about getting the dealers to stop selling. This isn't going to hurt Glock. Remember, we talked about this, and I know John Crump was here earlier. This is all about scaring the dealers, because those guys don't have infinite pockets. Rainier Arms could probably fight, but like we said, that one place that's next to the Filipino restaurant, how much money do you think they've got? At what point they're going to say, fuck it, and just quit? Very likely. I wasn't going to buy a Glock, but having a $10 full auto upgrade package is based. Yes. James Olin says, how much more until the Glock goal? I don't know. Right now, but full auto, that's a secret Mouska tool for later. Yes. That's a special tool that'll help us later. Ho-ho! Ariduda says, I like my CZP-10. I've shot those before. They're neat. They're nice. Kritosis for 10 subs. Thank you, Kritosis. We're going to get us on a woo here. You get 2, chat. You get 2 tonight. Thank you, Kritosis, for your support and your generosity. I appreciate that. Guys, if you got a sub from him, definitely help him out, because right now, in a minute or two, I am going to set the members only stream, and we are going to go hang out and, just do stuff where we can talk about and fuck around over here on YouTube. Now, remember, we can't play with, guns or anything over here, but we could still have fun. And girls just want to have fun. Let me see here. Where is... what is... What's going on right now? Yeah, you know what? We'll just... Oh, I don't know what we're going to do. I need something funny. You know what? Here, hold on. It's just going to be... There we go. We'll just make this work. There we go. All right, chat. And I gotta say, layer, flatten image, file, save as. Some of you are like, wait, you use Photoshop? Yes, I do. It's so much fun to play with. And you can get it for dirt cheap on Adobe. Like $20 a month. And you can get like Acrobat and all that, like full power Adobe for like the same price. Okay, so let's see here. We got... Okay. So what time? 10:50 here. All right, chat, there we go. So I'm going to set this up. We are all going to land the plane here, and I will see you guys over there on the members only stream. It will be fun, and join us. It's always kind of neat. We can just do whatever, and I will see you guys over there. And just remember, until next time, fuck the city of Seattle. Glock switchies are cool. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't. It does not mean you're guilty. It just means you're super based. Uh-oh. Did I? Uh-oh. Oh, that was weird. And did I hold up? Oh, I do. All right. I was wondering what the hell happened there. Actually, you know what? I'll do this right here. Ooh. Oh, no, it's not going to... Yeah, there we go. Oh, look, you're suing me. Oh, no. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Sorry. I broke it. I know. I broke it. All right. So there's a couple more things here. We'll just clean this up and land the plane. The Amateur Iconoclast gifted 1 sub. Thank you. Sparky's Tech Corner re-up. Thank you, Sparky. And the Amateur Iconoclast with 2 more subs. Let's fucking go, chat. See you guys over in the... See you guys over in the members only stream. Also, remember, tomorrow night, 9:30, we got all kinds of stuff going down. James Comey is set to be indicted. And it's going to fail. And we're going to talk about why it's going to fail. We'll get to it, chat. More suffering for us on the right, but we'll get to it. And yes, no locals tonight. We're going into members only. Members only here on YouTube. If I said locals, sorry. But no, Mr. Massachusetts is over here. Yes, from the University of Texas Tower. Maybe I'll do a live stream. I should start, I'll do that eventually, Chad. If we start making enough money, I'll go do, my Thursday night show from different mass shooting website or sites. He didn't get a blanket parted? No, he did not. So, anyways, chat, remember till next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And switchies are based. Good night, chat, and take care. Weapons black.
blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy